A small community north of New York City is in shock after a mom drove into a river, drowning herself and 3 of her children. Police say LaShonda Armstrong loaded her 4 children into the family minivan and drove it into the Hudson River. But the oldest boy, just 10 years old, was able to get out a van window and get to safety. Police say one of Armstrong's relatives called about a possible domestic dispute earlier that night, but when police arrived, no one was home. Neighbors say they never knew of any problems.
She seemed all right. She's a young, pretty woman with her kids, working woman. She go to school. It's like, that's why it's so shocking for everybody.
Police have questioned Armstrong's husband, the father of the 3 children that died, but have not released any more details. Dr. Jared Skillings is Director of Behavioral Medicine at Pine Rest Christian Mental Health Services, and joining us now to talk a little bit more about when we hear cases like this, it's just so difficult to hear something so horrible. Are there warning signs for this in advance? It just seemed like you heard that lady say it just happened. She seemed like a great mom and everything was okay, but in reality, not at all.
This is a really shocking case. It's one of those stories that you hope never happens.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes folks will leave signs that they are thinking about harming themselves or harming someone else. For suicide issues, they may start giving their possessions away or may hint at the end of their life. In this case, it was a suicide homicide.
Right.
What I read sounded like there may have been a domestic dispute earlier in the day. It's hard to know what may have caused it. Hopelessness, anger, maybe a lot of things.
Talking about that domestic dispute part of it, at that point, was that sort of just tipping the scales? I mean, is that where she was just pushed over the edge at that point? Was it something, maybe years of abuse? Is there any way to really know or pinpoint some of the things that lead up to actions like this?
That's a good question. Without knowing what her thoughts were before she decided to do this, some of the possibilities are what you just suggested, that years of abusive relationships, years of, I'm just speculating in general.
Exactly.
Depression or anxiety symptoms that may have built up, and then if this domestic dispute was what pushed her over the edge, it may have been enough stress to cause her to feel helpless enough, maybe hopeless enough, or even angry to take it out on her children, or to not think straight in any way at all and just lose touch with reality.
What should people be looking for when they have loved ones and family members and friends that may be going through some difficult times? You never think that something like this would happen.
For most of us, this is the last thing on any of our minds when we're talking about friends and family. A couple of the things that you might want to pay attention to specifically for depression are that the person loses interest in some of the activities that they used to enjoy. They isolate themselves more from others, their energy levels lower. They also, back to the suicide point, they may talk about giving up some of their possessions. In this case, it sounds like it was a really impulsive decision based on some kind of a stress during the day. So if a family member has a really severe stress, offer some support, give them a phone call, and offer, well, maybe take them out to dinner or spend some time with them.
Reach out.
Reach out a little bit, that's right.
Dr. Jared Skillings, thank you so much from Pine Rest.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.